Hello there. You're listening to the Box Office Show. I'm Ryan Hill.
And I'm Dylan Johnson. Today we're going to be talking about the box office numbers from last weekend and our box office predictions for this upcoming weekend.
We'll also be discussing two breakout hits from Gen Z filmmakers, Curry Barker's Obsession and Kane Parsons' Backrooms.
Right into the box office breakdown from May 29th to the 31st. In first place, Backrooms by Kane Parsons in its debut made $81.4 million domestically. Big hit.
Massive opening, by far the biggest of A24's films.
Yeah.
Obsession made $27.4 million, which was a 14% increase.
Hell yeah.
Its third weekend, bringing its domestic total to over 105 million. That
also
is
killing it.
Insane.
Huge win for
Very
Focus
impressive
Features.
run. Mm-hmm.
In third was Star Wars, Mando and Grogu, now below the two indie horror films, one indie horror film, one A24 horror film. Star Wars now in third. Mando and Grogu only made $24.4 million. That is a 70% drop. Whopping. Massive. Those who wanted to see it saw it, and nobody else did.
Michael with $11.8 million.
Nate Bargatze's The Breadwinner, $7.3 million.
Devil Wears Prada 2, $5.8 million.
Pressure, $5.8 million.
Sheep Detectives, $4.6 million.
And Passenger with $2.7 million.
Rounding out the top 10, Mortal Kombat 2, for its final time, collects $2 million. All right, we're going to go into our box office predictions for June 5th to the 7th. We have two movies dropping this weekend. Scary Movie 5. No, that's Scary Movie 6. And then Masters of the Universe are coming out. So, which of these do you think is going to take the crown? Horror is having a moment. Obviously, this is a little horror spoof, but nonetheless, got a lot of eyes on the genre lately. So, if people want to come out and see a send up of it, what do you think Scary Movie 6 is going to be able to do?
I think it's going to be 35 to 45 million. I think it's going to do pretty decent for a comedy, and I think it's going to take number one spot over Masters of the Universe.
Okay. He-Man making its big screen live action debut. What do you think that's going to get?
I think similar numbers. I think it's going to be duking out between those two and Backrooms weekend 2 for the top 3 spots.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Scary Movie 6 will come out on top?
I do.
Okay. We shall see how it shakes out. But let's go into our main discussion now of these two movies. First up, Obsession. So this one was one that you saw, opening weekend? Or
no, I think it was the weekend after.
Week?
And then again the weekend after that. So I've seen it twice now.
Gotcha, okay. So when did this first pop up on your radar?
It's the scene where they're at dinner and Nikki goes, no. That popped up on my Instagram feed. I think the weekend that the movie premiered, and I of course knew who Curry Barker was from his skits on YouTube and on Instagram. Okay. And
I did not. So you've seen them?
You saw his sketches? Yeah, I've seen his sketches. Yeah, they're good. And I knew that he was making a horror film. I just thought it would be similar to Iron Lung, where it would have a fan base. I just wouldn't be a part of it, you know. Mm-hmm. I was never a big YouTube guy growing up, so I didn't really pull up to see Markiplier. But this one I had heard shockingly good things about after its debut weekend, especially from some friends of mine, and it also just started blowing up online. People were like, this is the best. This is great. The reviews were stellar for it. Huge numbers. And I was like, you know what? I'm being told this is the greatest thing ever. I might as well go check it out, give it a shot and see what it's like. Mm-hmm. And so I went with a large group of people. I went with Lillian and Christian and a bunch of their friends, and then some of my coworkers. We all went together, and I have to say, awesome. It is just awesome. It's very, very cool. Very, very good story. Well written, well filmed, well performed. There's just not a lot that I can say negatively about this film. I think it's really well thought out. I think it's really smart. I think a lot of the decisions that Curry Barker is making as a filmmaker are really intelligent. I think he has like an eye for filmmaking, which I think you could see in like the little pieces of that in his sketch work and in some of his horror shorts that I've seen building up to this. I think you can obviously see where that talent kind of lies, and this is just that on just such a larger scale, and it really is fantastic. Ryan, when did you first hear about this movie?
So I knew of it from there were reportings and the trades about this getting picked up. I don't know if we talked about it on air or whatever, but it premiered at TIFF and then got a pretty big deal. I think it was like 15 million with Focus Features, and so yeah, based on that, I had it on my radar, and I was like, okay, something to look out for. And then they dropped the teaser trailer, which was the scene of him in the car on the phone with the helpline for the One Wish Willow, and so that was just like the 1 minute teaser that they gave out there. So I remember seeing that and being like, okay, maybe something to look out for. And then as we were building up to the release, we started hearing all the rave reviews. So we're like, okay, something to watch. Of course, it was a horror film, so I was also wondering, would it be something I could digest? And I hadn't seen, honestly, I only really saw that teaser trailer. I don't know if they released a full trailer or not, but I guess I had to if you saw some of those clips online from other stuff. But I was like, okay, something to keep an eye out for. And then you were going to tell me whether or not to go see it based on your reaction. And then, yeah, you're like, this is incredible, but it would be too scary for you.
That is what I said, yes.
But because of the phenomenon, I mean, it's such a huge hit. Everyone's talking about it, especially, it seems like a very Gen Z focused thing. Like, I think it's young audiences are driving out the continued huge numbers for this. So
yeah, big time.
I was like, yeah, I gotta check this out. And especially I remember doing this little pairing of Obsession and Backrooms. So two Gen Z filmmakers, Curry Barker's 26, Kane Parsons is 20. So that's
crazy,
truly insane. But yeah, so I'm like, I want to support these young up and coming filmmakers because these are really, I mean, they're the first real Gen Z filmmakers we got that have mainstream huge films in theaters. So I was like, yeah, I definitely gotta give this a watch. And I also think it's incredibly well made. I think it's great. I think it has a lot of great stuff to talk about. I think that's also what's driving the return business, driving a lot of the word of mouth, is because there's just a lot in there that is entertaining, but also thought provoking. So yeah, I think it was a great film for me to go out and see. And for anyone who's also not the biggest fan of horror films or getting scared, this is not really that scary. I think there's some parts that are somewhat gory. I don't really like gore. I can handle it. I just don't, I prefer my movies not to have some obscene gore in them. There's like a scene where they really lean into it, but outside of that, it's not scary. So yeah, I would say go and see it. Don't let that hold you back. If that's, the one thing that, like, for me was maybe a hesitant factor.
I thought it was scary.
All right, well, we can talk
I'll
about
stand on business on this one.
I mean, yeah, but not scary enough to avoid it. I mean, there's some creepy moments in there for sure, but
yeah, well, I don't think there's any movie that's scary enough for me to avoid it. I'm just saying that it is flat out, like, by definition, scary, in my opinion.
Okay, we'll talk about it. We'll see what scenes stuck out as horrifying to you. But
okay,
let's dive into it. So this will be spoiler filled from here on out. So if you haven't seen it yet, go out, continue to boost those numbers. But yeah, let's dive into all the intricacies of Obsession. So what did you get scared at?
Okay. My favorite scene in the movie is when she's in the corner of the room because it's like the first time she really bugs out in a way that is like more supernatural as opposed to
Hmm.
just like flat out strange. And I think her being in the corner with the makeup on her face to make her look old and like crying and making those motions and those movements, there's something really eerie about it. There's something really eerie about like keeping the camera on her and just not cutting away and like refusing to cut away. Ugh.
Hmm.
The her yelling at him to go back to bed and him just like laying there and not knowing what to do. And then there's just the sound of her footsteps running off and he doesn't know where she is. Then she comes back with the plant. I don't know. It's just like it's like the movie itself is not doing like it's not like making a bunch of crazy new decisions in terms of like horror filmmaking, but it is still like keeping me on my toes for sure. Like
Hmm.
I am still like we could talk about the gory scene where Sarah gets her face smashed into like a brick. Like you can see it
Hmm.
coming from a mile away, right? Everybody
Yeah.
can see it coming from a mile away. It's
Still got me
still
though.
like
The jump scare, like when
yeah,
the sound rushes in all at once. I'm just like, Jesus, come on.
it's still really effective. I think based on just like how well Curry Barker makes you invested in the characters in that scene and like what they're specifically talking about and invested in them as people and wanting to see them continue as characters. Like he like makes it like a little rom-com scene in the middle of this horror movie between these two characters and you're like invested in their future as a duo, invested in Sarah's future in her college. Like he gives you
Hmm.
something to look forward to in the movie that is not depressing and then just immediately rips it away with a brick. It's crazy. It's bold. I liked
Sure
it.
is. So yeah, definitely one of those that yeah, it was signposted very clearly, but very effective in its
Mhm.
execution. And as for the scene where she's yeah standing in the corner, that like first that like kind of wide shot when you just see the other side of the room and then you see her like little movement to be like, oh, that's where she is. That I thought was
Mhm.
very creepy and effective. I don't know that I was. I don't know what tone exactly they were going for with when she was doing the hysterical crying there, and then
I think it's supposed to
saying,
be just be unsettling in general. Just like very
yeah,
generally unsettling, which I think it was 100%. I think the whole movie is just generally unsettling
yeah. I think
in
parts of it
tone,
there,
in
but they play some for laughs, which is why it's hard to because some of it it's meant to be like, oh, this is unsettling, but others it's meant to be like played for like we when he's opening the door, which is sealed shut with the duct tape. Obviously, it's like that's horrifying to see that and be like, okay, this
mhm.
is clearly escalating to a point where he should just not come back.
Yeah.
But like it's played for laughs at that moment of him continually opening, and she should be like, maybe you should just stay. Maybe you should, you don't need to go out.
But
So
do you think that the humor works against the film?
I just think there's some moments like that one where she was the hysterical sobbing in that particular moment where it's like not natural crying, which again can be leading to it being unsettling as well. But I don't know. That one I couldn't parse out whether it was meant to be more humorous or fully unsettling. Um,
Perhaps
the
it
Uncanny
merits a
Valley
rewatch.
makeup I thought was effective. And again, that led to or it leans into the unsettling aspect of it. But
Mhm.
I don't know. So that one didn't fully, I wasn't creeped out or scared. I was just like, okay,
Mhm.
what's going on? And also I was trying to just listen to the words she was saying
Yeah.
for
For
most
me,
of
I
it.
think I like the use of the humor. I think the whole tone that they're trying to go for, at least in the beginning, when you're not really sure what's going on, because there's a good chunk where you're like, where we as the audience know that this is a horror movie, so the one with Rillo is probably just real in the beginning, and the character has to learn it a little bit slower than we learn it.
Yeah.
But there is still like for a good chunk of it, like, oh, is it real? Is it not real? Just for like maybe like 10 or 15 minutes before it starts getting really bonkers. And the movie does
Hmm.
commit to very well like the rules established that the one wish Willow is real. You get one wish, it is true. Like you just get it. There is no to me there is no like unintended consequences to the wish. It is the exact wish you asked for. Because he
Yeah.
asked for her to love him more than anyone else in the world, and she does. The other guy, he asked for $1 billion. He just gets it. He gets $1 billion. There's no like trick to it.
Yeah.
you just have to be careful with what you wish for. And
Exactly.
I like the commitment to the rules of the wish very, very strongly. And I like that we as the audience, as we are accepting that the wish is 100% true and 100% committed to those rules, that we are experiencing this sort of awkwardness that he is of like the discovery of the wish and how there's a balance in the humor and the disturbingness of it. Of like, ooh, this is creepy. I know this is a horror movie. This is weird. But also the wish he's asking for, it is humorous in nature. To want somebody to love you more than anybody else in the world is like a ridiculous thing to ask for.
Mm-hmm.
And so the results that he gets, I think they are just naturally funny. And I think there's no way around it.
Gotcha. I mean, yeah, I think for the most part, yeah, there's a lot of humorous moments that they have in there that work extremely well. It's just in that one particular scene, which I think for sure
when he says
is one of
something
the more
like,
creepy
"Can't
ones.
you just be Nikki? Can't you just be like normal?" And she gives like the really big smile, and she's like, "How's this?" Just the really big smile. He goes, "Not that," and she's
Yeah,
just
it's like
upset.
no.
It's really funny.
So, yes, I think they do a good job with that for sure. And I also like the way that they do the slow rollout of him trying to piece together, like, oh yeah, the wish is real, because obviously he doesn't make the wish thinking it's actually gonna come true. Like it's a
Of course,
novelty toy thing from a crystal shop. It's like he wouldn't think that's actually true. So then when she starts acting weird, immediately like coming back out of the door and starts talking to him, he's having to go through like the rational side of there's no way that actually worked. But if it did work, she's now acting in a way where it did come true.
yeah.
So that paired with the fact that obviously he would want, like when she comes to him later and it's like, oh, it was MDMA, I was on drugs. Which is that how MDMA works? Would it be? I don't think it would make it like that.
It's not like unbelievable. It is like a believable lie. I think you can get away with saying it.
Sure. Okay. So
Especially in
anyway,
like a script. Like you could make the argument that you could write that off as like an MDMA performance in a movie. I guess.
that makes sense. Again, I don't know. I don't know what the side effects. I don't know how someone acts on it. So again, to me, that'd be like, okay, reasonable enough expectation, like explanation, I guess.
Yeah.
And then so he's wanting to believe like, okay, so it wasn't the wish that was making her act weird. The wish can't be possible, right? It can't be true. So it was just the drugs. So she's on drugs. Okay, now that makes sense. And then he's able to continue believing what he wants to believe, which is that now she's genuinely interested in him.
Yeah,
And
and they
then
have
of
happy
course the
couple
things
montage.
escalate much further when then it becomes obvious that something is not right. The wish had to have come true. But what I really like is, again, with horror movies, part of my annoyance with some of them or hesitance with them is characters do not act in intelligent ways ever. And some of it you can explain with, okay, fear and heightened situations for sure. But a lot of times it's like, what are you doing? Going alone, no backup into woods where you hear a sound. It's like some of these things don't make sense. What I love about this is in the horror and a lot of the humor, right, is from her obsession of him, right? The wish being taken to the extreme. She loves him more than anything. So as that keeps getting manifested, it's like clearly he should run for the hills. But instead,
he doubles down.
Doubling down. He's making excuses for it. Like he's constantly finding ways to justify to himself and to others, right? I also like that dynamic of the friend group. They have no idea what's going on, but they know she's not acting as her normal self. And so like something is wrong. She's having a psychotic break or something. And like, this is not okay. And he's making justifications for it.
Yeah.
And he keeps putting himself in the position to get, what eventually happens, right? Where everything goes wrong and people get hurt.
So, in a lot of ways, in the movie highlights this in the beginning, it's more about his obsession with her than her obsession with him. Like, he's willing to take it so far simply because he is truly, truly obsessed with her and is willing to like sacrifice her own autonomy for the sake of having her as a girlfriend, even if it isn't really her, which is crazy.
Indeed.
It's awful.
Yeah, but I like that they roll that out gradually over the course of the film. Because again, no, he didn't start the wish, right, intending to actually do that, right? And thinking of it as, oh yes, I'll take away her autonomy. But there gets to a point where clearly that's what's happening. And he's still choosing to go along with it. Even after she cooked his cat his dead cat.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
crazy to me. I could not believe,
Yeah.
as you know, big cat person. So
Big cat guy.
the cat dead on arrival. He comes back home and the cat's already dead. I'm already like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Then cat gets unburied and is put into the kitchen for a
Also
memorial, whatever
crazy.
that was. I'm like, also crazy. And then you cook the cat, put in a sandwich, bro. And then this is part of the
You
humor as well
can't
because
cook the
he's
cat, Nikki. We talked about this. You can't cook the cat.
like, that's the absurd hilarity of it, of him like
Yeah.
practicing in the mirror saying to Nikki, "You can't cook the cat. You can't do that." It's like, what? Like, why would you? He's still like trying to justify. He's like, yeah, she cooked my cat, but that's okay. We can make this work. It's like, what are you doing, bro?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, even way back when, because she lied about being distraught because her father had cancer or was dying or did die,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, and he gets told by his friend, "Hey, this is not like this is not true. Something's going on," and he does start to confront her. Right, that's where the whole "no, no, no" comes from. But then she's like, "Why
Classic.
does it matter?" And that's a great thing there. Like that's part of his choice. So he's like, "Okay, I know this isn't real. I know she was lying to me about that. I know that a lot of these feelings that are coming towards me from her, they're not real. Why does it matter?" Right? He makes the choice of I don't think it
Yeah.
matters and goes along with it
It's like
anyway.
the Matrix, you know? It's like, why would you want to know reality when you could have a steak? It's like
There
the
you go.
Matrix. What
So
does it
yeah, so
matter?
that's what he decides to do, and has many many
Devastating
consequences.
choice.
Many
Good
consequences.
God.
So I like that because
Everybody
again,
dies.
when she starts freaking out, it's like obviously any other rational person would be like, okay, let me find a way to undo this and go back. Well, he does call, but again, he still doesn't really do anything uh, in response there. So you can go out and get more one wish willows, but obviously you can't wish it anymore since you already spent your one wish. So he needs to get other people to do it. He finally does do this once it gets too extreme and somebody's already died. But how do you think you should have gone about this of like getting Ian to make the wish, or should he have just gone to some random person
I
and just
don't
asked them
know.
to say something?
I
Because he
don't know.
had
But
extra
by
wishes.
far,
He had like three of them, right? Total. So
yeah.
it's like
Well,
three
he
tries
shows
with
up.
random people on the street.
What I like about the scene is that, again, it's keeping me on my toes in that I really don't know where he's going to go with this because he shows up and he is initially trying to get him to snap the willow. And then he's saying that Sarah's texting her, which is really Nikki, of course, to go over to the house. And he's like realizing that Nikki's plotting something even bigger, maybe going to kill him as well. And so now he starts to freak out. He's running back and forth and forth. He's like chaotic. You don't really know if he's going to ask him to do the wish. And then he's finally like, what is going on? He goes, okay. And he just lays out everything on the table. And it sounds bizarre. It sounds like
Mm-hmm.
absolutely bonkers. And this builds up to probably my favorite joke in the movie, which is him snapping the will and saying, I wish for $1 billion. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect. Wastes the wish, gets $1 billion. It's just so funny. The commitment to the wish just being real is really smart and clever.
Yeah. I like that. And then Bear falls to his knees screaming as the $1 billion is showering on them. But he still had two more wishes. So then he goes over to like Nikki, who has Sarah tied up there and everything. It's gonna try and get her to wish it for him. But I'm like, again, at that point, just go out to random people. You have two tries, so just be like, hey, say this for me. Like, can you just say this line of, I wish Fire never made his wish, and then see if that works out. Obviously, he
Yeah.
was distraught at that point, but I'm like, bruh, that would be better than going to Nikki, who has Sarah like tied up. She's gonna do something else,
Dispose of the
possibly if
body.
Ian shows up. Yeah, so it's like at that point, just find some random schmo on the street and be like, hey, just say this. Um, but again, they needed to get to that ending there. But yeah, so I thought that stuff was interesting. The stuff in the the party was really well done. I thought that was a
Yeah. Dude, her speech is fantastic. Her
great.
monologue.
Yes, that's a great balance of tension and also comedy. Because
Yeah.
what she's saying in there, right, is like both absurd to the point where it is distressing. It's like this is completely whacked out, but then also hilarious because like all the people around were having to listen to this as if to her she's just delivering like it's
Mhm.
normal meal, normal
I love,
poetry reading.
I love when she goes, and you will all die, never knowing the love that I feel for my bear. And then she stops. She goes, guys, I'm kidding. And then it's just still dead silence. She goes, all right, I'm not kidding. Deal with it.
Yeah, I like
It's
that too.
really funny.
She's like,
Her
I'm
going
kidding,
back and
guys, come
forth is really,
on.
really,
All right, I'm not kidding. Deal with it.
it's so good. It's really, really funny.
Yeah, that was effective. And then the when real Nikki, I guess, comes through and then freaks out,
That
breaks
stuff
a
freaks me out.
glass bottle, and then stabs herself in the face. I'm like, Jesus, that was intense.
Every time
My
she like
question,
breaks and the real Nikki comes out, that's really scary to me.
yeah, which I really like that idea because again, early on, when they first she goes in for the kiss and then freaks out, and then he gets really freaked out.
Which is a crazy jump scare, yeah.
It's
She
like
goes, whoa, what the
again
fuck?
on its face initially, right? It's just okay, this is scary, and oh, this is very weird, like a complete turnaround from what she was just acting like. But then you pick up on okay, that's the real Nikki coming through. So a lot of the times where she's acting very unsettling and weird and strange, it's the real her trying to come through. I thought that was a really creative idea
Mm-hmm.
for turning like what would be the horror into actually just the real victim in this trying to get through, right,
Mm-hmm.
and like reclaim her body or try and get the message out of like help me.
Mm-hmm. That and the call in the car when he goes, do you want to talk to her?
Yeah, that
Do you
was
want to talk
genuinely
to Nikki?
distressing as
And then
well.
she's
Just
just
screaming,
screaming like she's in hell.
true
Dude,
blood
that's
curdly scream.
brutal.
Yeah, so that I think is
That's
great
also really
because
funny though. When he's like, do you want to cancel the wish? Yeah, we don't really do that. I was just guessing based on the tone of your voice what you
why
wanted.
they even have a helpline, which that begs the question of like who. So they do just have a dedicated helpline. Um,
I
and
don't
then,
care. I think it's just really funny. It's a commitment to the wish, which I like. A commitment to the bit.
yeah,
It's
but
a product, and the product is real, and there's a helpline, and I think that's really funny.
But what I wonder is because then there's some moments like the Uncanny Valley stuff that they do, and then the one shot where they reverse her walking, so just like all of a sudden walking backwards. I'm like
Mm-hmm.
that does just come out of nowhere, and that has to be supernatural Nikki just
Mm-hmm.
being supernatural, I guess. So I wish there would have been full dedication to any moment that appears like horror based, like any of the jump scare stuff comes from real Nikki peeking through. I think that would have been a very compelling idea to fully commit to. Nonetheless,
Yeah.
still think it's very strong the way that they do that. Because yeah, it ties into that broader theme of they're ultimately out of choosing to do it in many of the cases, in some cases out of just pure cowardice. He's willing to just let real Nikki suffer in wherever she is, so that the supernatural Nikki, wish Nikki can
Freaky
continue
Nikki.
to be obsessed with him. Freaky Nikki, I guess. Yeah. So
Yeah, no, I think it was fine. I think they get across that point strong enough. I think for me, like the scene where they're having sex and she just has like a plain expression, but she's like making the noises like she's enjoying it, but just complete flat stare
mhm,
is like really unnerving. And I think
for
that gets
sure.
the point across pretty strongly of like this is not something that the like actual Nikki would want or wants to do.
Right. Agreed. I just wish again any like I don't know, her reversing is like funny to watch. Again, that was the other thing because I'm like I wasn't really unnerved by that. I was amused by it. Um, and it's also like what is the real explanation for that? Like why did she do it? It was just it seemed to be just something they were like yeah this will be a little creepy or interesting looking. Let's just do it. So it didn't seem to be much creative reasoning behind it. At least ties in with the story and the themes that they're trying to get across. But I still liked it. My question though is why the hospital turned her away when she had
That I don't
glass
understand.
shards in her face.
I've
It's like what
I've
is
seen
going
it
on?
twice now and I don't get it.
So I don't get that. I also didn't get like Sarah, read the room, bro. This is hours after
Yeah.
your friend who's dating her, but clearly is not okay.
This is like
The real,
a good example of what you're talking about earlier with characters making stupid decisions. What are you doing hitting this guy up
yeah,
when he's clearly got like some
very
crazy
stupid, but
shit
also
going on with his
just
girlfriend, bro? Like,
deeply inconsiderate as well. Even just to Nikki, like even if you're like, okay, Nikki's my friend, but also she's going through something clearly, like your friend who just stabs himself in the face with a glass jar, like that's obviously insane. Um, so why would you, especially after the whole Hansel and Gretel, no one will like no one will know love like me to bear. It's like I'm not giving this girl any possible thoughts that like something might be going on between me and her man. So
yeah,
why would you
even though she's
hit him up in the
totally
first
into
place?
him.
Number two, why are we doing this in the middle of the night? Like number one, you should be like traumatized from witnessing what you just saw. So I don't know why you would just be like, okay, I can just chill and focus on other
The
things.
conversation is also a little weird. She's like, she's using you, or like she's like too much for you, or something. It's like, bro, she's got serious problems.
Yeah,
This
like
is
she needs
like this should be
help.
it should be a question about getting her like psychiatric evaluation.
Exactly. Not you coming over and then saying, "Here's my college letter." I'm like, this can wait. Like this can wait. There's no
Yeah.
reason for that to have happened in the middle of the night
I do like the
after
scene, but you
witnessing
are
what.
correct. It is a little bit it's a little bit poorly timed, I think,
Yeah,
to go one straight to the other. Although I do like the idea of the scene of trying to make it feel like a rom-com moment and then giving it that undercut to like really surprise the audience.
yeah,
Overall, I think it's fantastic. I just wish maybe like a couple days in between. Give it some
yeah.
time.
I would say something like that. Um, but yeah, the other thing I do think, right beforehand when he's in bed and then she's sleeping, but then the real Nikki comes through and is able to talk, and it's
Mhm.
like, kill me, basically, like put me out of my misery here. Um, and then this is where you see, like, again, he makes the choice. He's like, would being with me be so bad? He's
Yeah.
like, I've
Oof.
never been with you, Bear. And then he walks away. He just walks away, which I mean, at that point, it's like every Sarah getting killed like that, but he definitely shouldn't have gone out to meet her. Sarah shouldn't have been like, hey, let's meet up. He definitely should have been like, hey, I'm taking care of, Nikki who just stabbed herself in the face. And we also got turned away from a hospital. So I can't meet up. Hopefully you can understand that. Um,
Mhm.
but obviously, he doesn't act sensibly either. He acts selfishly.
Of
So he
course.
goes to do that. Even if you're going to do that, I'd be like, can't find some way to make sure, you know, you drive very far away so that Nikki can't like run over to you. Like go somewhere far, far away. Come on now. But anyway, I think again, like just thematically, the way that they handle that, I think is really, really clever, really well done. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, it makes those scenes where it's like, okay, it's a bit of a stretch to like force them together that particular night. Again, that close to the house where she can show up, but it works ultimately, I think. And then
Yeah.
finally, when now Ian showed up and got shot again, poor decision from him. If you know now the wish works.
Another great joke in the movie. Dude, open the door. I've got like $1 billion out here.
yeah.
Great.
Yeah, he was great. He was at some good lines there. Um, and so yeah, he opens the door, gets shot, and then now Bear, I guess, is checked out with it. He's done, so he's gonna go kill himself. Can't shoot himself, so then he's gonna take the pills. Which what are those pills exactly? That's
There's sleeping pills, I think.
how many do you need to take to die? Because he died. The cat presumably died. I guess you need less for that
Mhm.
because of those pills as well. I'm like, what type of sleeping pills are these?
I
But also
mean,
got labeled,
he
do not eat
ate
these.
all of them.
What are they for?
He ate all of them. Like, I don't know if you can die that fast from sleeping pills, but I mean, he ate a fuck ton of them. Like, more than enough to kill a human being.
Intriguing. But anyway, he does that. But then you see, and this is great acting. Again, the whole cast is incredible. Obviously, Indy Navarrete plays
Never eating?
Nikki. What is it?
Never eating?
Navarrete.
Mm-hmm. I think.
She
Neveretti?
phenomenal.
I think it's Neveretti.
And then I believe it's Michael Johnston who plays Bear. Also incredible. This particular scene where he goes from now he's trying to throw up to get the sleeping pills out. But then you see the
Coward.
flip happen as he now he's got love in his life, pure
He's now
love,
obsessed with her.
because the wish was made. Yeah, she used her wish. Which I don't know why he also didn't expect that to happen. Why would you leave the willows out there when, but whatever. So I guess he was trying to just end it all, thought he could do it quicker.
Yeah,
And
from his perspective, nothing matters anymore. He's just gonna kill himself and it's gonna be over.
yeah,
Right? Nothing else fucking matters. But what's really devastating is if he had the courage to just shoot himself in the fucking head, Nikki would have woken up sooner and she maybe could have snapped the willow and used her wish for something good in this situation.
right.
But he waited too long and he took the slow way out because he's a coward. And then they all just stay dead. And poor Nikki is just fucked up.
Yeah.
Really devastating ending. For her to be alive at the end of it, horrible.
Mhm. Coming back to all that. But how would they, again, there's $1 billion in one guy's house.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm going to think it's because of that. They'll be like, oh, it's
3
just
dead
crazy money
bodies,
dispute.
fucked up shit all over the place, and $1 billion laying on the ground.
Yeah.
What the fuck happened? Andy Richter's going to be going nuts when he finds out.
Dude, his whole store. Hopefully
His daughter's
Yeah,
friends, they all murdered each other for $1 billion. Piss and shit all over the floors.
brutal.
His
That'd be
daughter was
truly
bludgeoned to death and stripped naked. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that is awful. For him, man. Pull him. All right. Any other things you want to bring up, discuss about Obsession?
Just really good. Just very effective, very entertaining. Delivered exactly what it needed to do. Had a good theme that carried through the movie. Strong performances. There's not much to say against it, really.
Indeed. All right. How many One Wish Willows out of 5 are you giving it?
I'm giving it 4.5. Only because I've seen it twice now, and I wanted it to get to a 5, and it's just not quite there. I think there's still something about it that I feel is like lacking of what I think is truly great to like put it in the upper echelon of films. I think there's just something there that is like not timely for me. Something that is like keeping it from being something that I'm going to go to and rewatch a bunch, or something that's like going to make it like stick with me. Like I think everything is done really well. I think everything is written really strongly, directed really strongly, performed really strongly. But when I like walk away from it, there's just not much that stays with me, I suppose. Like it did its job. I was scared, I was thrilled, I was entertained, but I guess I wasn't moved as much as I wish I was. And I feel like there are horror movies that do move me in a way that like it stays with me. And this just isn't quite one of them, I suppose. However, fantastic movie. Fantastic movie.
It's your top of the year, isn't it?
So far, yeah. So far, number 1 of the year.
Yeah, so high praise there. I did want to mention one other thing. I forgot. The look of the film is incredible. Again, this was made
great cinematography. The shadows, fantastic.
An indie film, $750,000 budget. It looks incredible. Like the detail in the shadow is fantastic. The one scene where she's at the door and it's where she's trying to explain like the whole MDMA thing, but you can't see her face. Like you can just see like little flicker of light in her eyes.
Yeah.
But she's pretty much in shadow. And they do that quite a few times. But that one in particular, I was like, this is fantastic. Like the amount of detail that they had with the very dim light that still had a bit of fall off on her. I was like, this is amazing. And had a very strong, consistent color grade throughout the whole film as well. A lot of it, is taking place at night. And so they're able to maintain that. And I was like, this just looks very, very good. So whoever, the cinematography team was, the colorist, props to them. This looked fantastic. So
absolutely.
I'm giving it 4 One Wish Willows out of 5.
That's pretty good. That's higher than I thought you'd give it.
Yeah, I was originally, it was going to be a 3.5 because again, I think leaving the film, like a lot of it is compelling, but yeah, I don't know. At a certain point, I was just like, maybe it's because with most horror films, I'm just assuming it's going to be doom and gloom in the end anyway. So I'm like, I don't know how it's going to play out. And then there were a few, I mentioned them here, of just little leaps of logic here and there that I was like, I feel like we should have had a little bit better stitching together to explain some of these things. But again, I think just the execution of the theme overall, and a lot of those little snippets
It's
here and there that
compelling.
they give is just very strong, very well done. And then I think the performances here, like these are all newly minted stars without a doubt. Like
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
dedication, especially from Indy Navarrete to the role, knocked it out of the park. Like
Absolutely.
it would absolutely fall apart if she didn't go 110% like she did. So yeah, I think those elements lifted it up for me.
100%.
So there we go. Now we're gonna talk about Backrooms.
Good rating.
So
Oof.
you're not as big a fan of Backrooms. A little spoiler there on your thoughts on it.
This is
But
correct.
going into the
Initial
Backrooms,
impressions, not impressed.
what did you know of it? The
Nothing. I
concept,
had never heard anything about the Backrooms before the movie was announced.
really? Wow.
Didn't know what it was. Never heard anything about it. Movie was announced, then I learned about it, and I was like, okay, yeah, understood. I get the idea of liminal space,
Yep.
eerie things clipping through walls like a faulty program. Um, you know where you are, but you don't know where you are at the same time. Like everything's familiar, but everything is wrong just slightly. I get the idea. It's supposed to be eerie and weird, and it's like creepy pasta kind of like Tumblr sort of horror that got turned into like analog video uh projects from Kane Parsons. Like I get the idea.
Yeah.
Um I think it's a strong idea. I think it's fairly original. I think it's a horror that is very modern, like a horror concept that's very modern. This idea of just a very, I don't know, I guess poorly lit, officey sort of feeling, just making that feel off slightly, something so familiar in this modern world, something very modern in nature, making it feel off and almost threatening in a way.
Hmm.
I think it's a cool idea, and I think it's a very modern idea. I think this movie specifically, the approach that the plot takes, it is it is trying too hard to make sense when it doesn't make sense. It is trying too hard to have an answer when no answer was clearly decided on in the process of making the Backrooms. It's
Hmm.
trying to tell you that there is an answer to the mystery of what is the Backrooms, but we, the filmmakers, don't know what it is, and so you will not be given an answer because we didn't even think out what the answer is. I have no problems with filmmakers not giving me the answer. I have no problems with filmmakers not telling me what something is in a movie. I have a problem with implying that there is an answer when really they didn't think of one, which I think is the case of this film. They don't know what the Backrooms is. The Backrooms was just some weird internet post that blew up. That's what it is. It is like a vibe. It is inherently a vibe. And
Yeah.
I think that itself would have been a fine movie, just making it a vibe. And I think they start to do that initially when the Backrooms are first introduced into the film. And I think it falls apart as you get more and more into the Backrooms because then they're trying to give you answers. And I just don't get it. The whole ending of the movie falls apart for me 100%. On top
Gotcha.
of that, on top of what I think is kind of a poorly written plot and poorly written characters, boring. Just a boring movie. The number one
Tragique.
sin for me as a viewer, just kind of boring.
Tragique. So yeah,
What
I
about you?
think the idea again of the Backrooms is something I don't know years ago. Backrooms. Have you ever heard of SCP containment breach?
Nope.
Really? Okay, yeah.
Don't know what
Because
this
again,
is.
these are again, I'm normally checked out. Mason is always the one that has to like get plugged in with
Yeah,
what's going on nowadays. And so there was it was years ago. Um, we went on Roblox to just play around because we used to do that way back when.
of course.
Um, and there's a bunch of games that were like SCP containment breach stuff, and I was like, what is this? Like we played one of them, and it was you're walking around basically like a huge like Costco or whatever. Um, and like what is this? Like why is this supposed to be a thing? So he explained briefly like the SCP containment breach and the backroom stuff, which yeah, just originated online and these like random posts, and then people spun it out into like a whole lore, and that's what's kind of interesting. Like there's all these competing lores, different ideas of what are the back rooms, how they function, all that stuff. And I think it's cool, like to have an open source project like that where anyone and
Sure.
everyone can sort of throw in their 2 cents and create games. I know there's a bunch of like on Steam. I'm sure if you looked up Backrooms, like there's a bunch of different games. I'm sure a bunch of different stories, a bunch of videos on it. Um, and so Kane Parsons in his YouTube channel, Kane Pixels, had I guess a series of videos on Backrooms, little short films basically that he made in Blender, which is funny because I remember seeing on his channel he had uh, some videos on Attack on Titan. It was like, what if Attack on Titan was real and you were capturing it with like old black and white footage? Like, what would that look like?
Mm-hmm.
It was a really compelling video. It was just like 50 seconds or something, but I was like, this is dope.
Yeah. Again, in terms of like accumulating vibes here, I think Kane Parsons is really good at that.
Yeah.
I
And
think
so,
the vibes of the Backrooms movie, especially the set decoration, are great, and I think that's what they should lean more towards instead of the plot.
I agree. Because so I checked out some of those videos a couple of months back in preparation for this, and that was the main takeaway. Was it was heavily based on vibes. There were no real characters. There were characters, and sometimes they would chat. They were like the people from Async, the ones in those hazmat suits.
Yep.
And there's like a loose plot where one dude got lost, and then maybe he comes back later. I don't know what was going on there, but basically, it's all vibes, and I think he excels at that. Obviously, for a feature film, you kind of have to, you're going to bring in some stars. You're going to have human characters, and the way that they did it here, which is focus on just two random people basically that come across the Backrooms, I think was the right choice. How do they frame all of it? They basically framed it with, therapy and trauma, and we're looping back to the source of our trauma and all that stuff. I don't think any of that worked. I don't think it was compelling. I don't think it was.
I don't think it's deep in any way. I don't think it's profound in any way.
I don't think it was very profound. I don't think it was also very well rendered in the actual like the Backrooms as a reflection of all the like duplications of the real world, and then so it's them like going back to their house or his stores in there and all that, and it's like you're trapped in the pattern. You're sticking in the Backrooms rather than going out in the real world, and like changing the patterns and changing your life. It just didn't actually gel that well.
No,
so that stuff I didn't like very much. I did like Chiwetel Ejiofor's performance.
Yeah, he's all right.
He was very strong, especially as it goes on. Like when he, I guess we're in the spoiler alert territory now. When he crashes out, I think that is really well done.
Unexplained crash out.
Yeah, my question though, which I get,
does he just become obsessed with the Backrooms?
He kills
the girl for no reason.
But that,
because
and like, what was the timeline? Because there was, which I think was the best sequence of the film, was when he sort of had the camera and then he was going through the different areas of the Backrooms, running from whatever that monster was.
Yeah, it's okay. I think my favorite part of the film is when he's initially entering the Backrooms, just trying to discover what it is. He's literally just walking around. Huh?
My second favorite part.
Yeah, and I think it reminds me. It's interesting because they film it in a really, really well done, clever way. It reminds me a lot of Hunters of Beavers in the sense that like it feels almost gamified. That there's a map that he's going through the map and he's like discovering new areas, and they're using like landmarks like the stop sign and this very specific curves of the hallways to kind of mark out where he is the whole time, and you can kind of follow exactly where he is in the Backrooms, which is neat. And then they kind of backpedal on all that in favor of him going in with this sort of analog camera with the teenagers or whatever, and getting them killed. I don't know. I think everything part of the analog section I thought was good up until the point where he starts running, and then it just becomes a little hard to read, if you ask me.
No, I really like that part, especially when he went into the Christmas room. And then this was the part that was the most creepy for me, was he goes up to the light and then turns it on, and there's like someone in the chair there. And then you can see in the background emerging from the darkness is a woman figure that is walking very strangely.
This is where you and I are different, because I did not think that was scary. I thought the whole movie was cheesy. I didn't think there was an ounce of scare in this whole film. And this is where your like displeasure of like things that are supernatural sticks out here more than Obsession, in that this creature that's chasing him is very clearly like not a real thing, whereas in Obsession it's a girl. like she's possessed, but it's a girl.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah,
think that's where you and I have a disconnect.
I thought it was just because, again, imagine seeing, clearly he knows something's up in the back rooms, but seeing what should be, again, that's kind of that uncanny valley. Like it's a human esque figure, but she's walking very strangely, and then there's something wrong with her face as well. So that was just creepy. And then she's coming right at you. What's going on? It's a dimly lit room. Where you're going next. So I thought that was effective. Again, just like putting myself in that situation. It was
I think
just
cheesy.
a frightening scenario. And then I liked, again, my second favorite part was the beginning when he is exploring it for the first time, and then
Right.
you're hearing something, and it's just that like cardboard cutout that's looping greetings in a bunch of different languages. He walks
Also
towards
cool.
it to find, okay, it's just a cardboard cutout, so he's chill. But then imagine, so now again, this huge space, you haven't encountered anybody yet, you have no idea what it is, and then you start hearing footsteps or commotion, like someone now else is here. But it's gotten to the point where you're like, this is kind of freaky. You don't really think you can trust whoever else would be wandering these back rooms.
Yeah, that whole
So
part's great.
I think that was really
And then
effective of like
he
just
like races out. He has
creepy.
to go up like that small door to get out of there.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think all that stuff's great.
So yeah, I liked all that. Anytime again they're in the back rooms, I think is effective. I didn't much like. I thought the two like employees. I didn't think that was effective at all.
No,
Their like conversations or banter. Again, they have to demonstrate
they're
in
just
contrast to
fodder. They're
him.
fodder for the story. They're there to die,
Yeah,
and that
exactly.
was
And
clear from the
that going
beginning. Like the
in.
introduction of their characters, that they're just there to die. They have no character,
Mhm.
and that's where I think Obsession is different. Is like this is a movie that has 4 characters really in it, maybe 5. Obsession, similar thing. There's like 4 characters, maybe 5. You really include Andy Richter, I guess, but in Obsession, I do genuinely care about all 4 characters, even though 2 of them clearly are supporting cast members that aren't nearly as much of the film as the other 2 characters.
Mhm.
In this movie, obviously, I think they, cut out those teenagers quite a bit. They're barely in the film, but they also like the bits that they are in contribute nothing,
Yeah,
and I'm uninterested in them, and so I'm uncaring of the fact that they die. They're literally just fodder.
indeed. Very much indeed. Um, and then later on, so this is the part to me like the big bad, I guess, of the film, the Captain Clark, who,
Yeah,
why is he so tall? What is the,
just to make them
because
intimidating, I guess.
I guess, but if the impression is like these are, again, somehow the back rooms, they can duplicate spaces, right? Geographic spaces, but they can also duplicate people that are in
Mm.
them. But why is he so big? Why is he so tall? If that is the case. But anyway, so
I don't
he,
know.
and this is the big part that again in the writing just really doesn't click. Because yeah, the character trauma, backstory stuff, I'm like, I don't really. It just feel like it's such an obvious entryway into it that I'm like, we could have done way better. Then when now we're getting to the part where you have to make it thrilling, give us some stakes, all of that stuff. He's just chill with the tall Captain Clark duplicate thing, and then suddenly now he turns on him. Like it's implied that for weeks or whatever, he's just been chilling in the back rooms,
Yeah.
completely chill with this guy, and then now he shows up and then just bites his neck, and that dude's dead. It's like why? Why did that happen? What was the trigger that made him now go against
I
him?
don't know. I don't really understand any of Clark's speech when they're at the table before Captain Clark shows up. I don't understand any of what he's saying. I don't understand why the people in the back rooms are edible and why their insides are stuffing. I
Yeah,
don't
that seemed like one of the
understand.
weird things of like, okay, how do you find that out? Like, how would you discover? Yeah, let me just
Hmm,
eat this, I guess if he was in there for a long time, but
gotta eat
um,
some. I
yeah.
don't
So
understand the motivation behind their like repeating of the therapy conversation. I guess he's like just like tweaking out and his ego has hit full force. And so he's like leaning more into his delusions of grandeur
yeah,
against his wife, I guess. But what got him there? We skipped a whole character arc. He like He was just a guy who was obsessed with this weird thing that anybody would be obsessed with if they found it. Leads these kids into the
Mhm.
situation. They get taken. He's scared. He's like imprisoned. And then cut to he's not like an egomaniac and like the villain of the film. Where did this
Yeah.
come from? And that
I
was the
don't
scene where if you're going to do that jump cut and change the character perspective to Renato Renzi's character, that was the scene where you could give a little bit of context of what he's been up to this whole time and why he had that character change. And they just didn't do it.
yeah. 'Cause yeah, it's like why like what about coming across Captain Clark or coming across his home in the back rooms would make him switch that crazy? Unless is it a thing where the longer you're in the back rooms, the more crazy you go? It didn't seem that way. It seemed like he was
Yeah.
consciously choosing because again he wanted to play back that conversation that they had in the
Willing
therapy
to
session.
murder and cut heads off.
Yeah,
Crazy. Don't understand the motivation behind that character change. Like he's like an asshole through and through from the start of the film, but he's not somebody who's going to go cut off heads.
yeah, but yeah, it's like a believable person with believable flaws and anger issues and whatnot. But doesn't mean he's gonna terrorize his therapist in the back rooms and then lead his employees to go and be fodder for death for the monster. So I don't know. That part was not quite making any sense. So not as
everything from the very long once he starts running with the camera, everything from that point in the movie to the end of the film, I did not enjoy one bit.
And I still enjoyed when he was around the camera.
I found the only redeeming quality I found in that whole section was the set decoration, which we have not talked about yet, is fantastic in the back rooms.
Bringing to life all of
I'm
that.
not going to lie.
Incredible.
Amazingly so. In a movie where I think the set decoration is impeccable in those back rooms, like I think the way they design it and the way that they clip in those objects into the
oh yeah.
The shoes that are clipped in, like I think there's like some really really strong choices being made here and really really cool looks to everything and how everything feels. A lot of the way they shoot some of the shots of the back rooms are very very cool. The rest of the film, the set decoration, what happened, brother? It's low-key lacking.
In real life?
Yeah. I think for a mattress store, it was lacking in furniture. Or for a furniture store, it was lacking in furniture. I think for a therapist's office, it was relatively bland and just felt like the rest of the movie felt like I was watching like a movie. Like a movie with a very general, boring set decoration with no intrigue whatsoever. And then you get into the back rooms and you're like, this is where all the attention went. This is where they put everything forward. Like, this is incredible.
I see. Yeah, I don't have too much comment on that, I guess. The furniture store, I don't know. I suppose so, but you maybe
there's like
make the
5
case
chairs and a couple of beds.
He's running out of, business isn't doing too hot, so
it's just
really
it's a boring look to me
to
compared to what the back rooms ends up looking like when she's in when Captain Clark is chasing her through like the neighborhoods that are in the back rooms, and she's like massive warehouse, and she goes from there into I think that's where she gets into like the layers that like pummel down, and then crawls out back into the furniture store, which ends up being inside the back room still. She didn't even realize it. I don't know. There's some cleverness to the way that the back rooms is designed, especially in that first scene that I really, really like when she would tell Joe for where he's walking around just discovering it. It's great. It's simple. It's effective. I think the opening scene where it's also analog, but it's the guy in the hazmat suit and he's running around and he's filming it that way. It looks more like a living room or whatnot. I think also very cool. Very good look to the sets.
Agreed. I will also say, for horror film logic, what was going on with Renata Rinsby in her escape from old Captain Clark there? She was
I don't know.
Running across the couches, fell and broke her leg or hurt her leg, sprained her ankle. What was going on there?
Also a great set deck. I forgot about the sea of couches.
Yeah,
she
cool,
fully sprained her knee or something.
How do you let that happen, bro? Have you never played The Floor is Lava? First of all, like, come on.
I think that
couches are the easiest thing to be.
No, I think it'd be easy to break your leg in there. I think you and I need to get a room, fill it with some couches, and run back and forth until one of us hurts their knee.
I promise we'll be fine. Especially, you got to lock in. I guess, again, high stakes scenario, but even more reason to be very particular with where you put your foot.
She was locked
So
in.
that was a little wild. But again, so they need to slow her down because old Captain Clark has a peg leg.
Mhm.
And then she gets up into the furniture store. But before that, when she was like climbing the stairs and he was like thrashing at the door, I was like, go up, climb. Like she was just taking her sweet time doing that. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, climb up there. At a certain point,
It's
too, you're already
scary.
far enough on this the staircase where you can't turn back anyway. So it's like, just go.
It's
Stop
scary.
looking back. Just go. I don't care. I'm not the biggest fan of heights.
Bro, that's like
I don't care.
200 foot fall. It's scary being up that high the first
Who
time.
cares, bro? You're gonna die. He's gonna throw you off if you don't go up there now. So that was ridiculous. Then now she's up there in the furniture store. She knocked into like 4 different things, walking backwards, not looking behind her. I'm like, what
Yeah.
are you doing? And then I thought she was gonna juke. I thought that was what he's like, okay, we're gonna draw him in and then we're gonna juke and then run back downstairs, run back through the stairs, and then find another way out. But no, I guess her plan was
Juke not attained.
knock out the peg leg, which smart.
Smart.
And then because she's not looking backwards, she falls into the thing and then gets gassed.
Not smart.
Not ideal. And then
uses the handprint stone.
yeah, that was ridiculous. I don't know what was going on there.
Beat Captain Clark unconscious so she can get away. Yeah. Don't understand what's happening there.
Aren't they not supposed to feel pain? Why is he feeling pain?
I don't know.
He literally said,
I don't know anything about these creatures or what they mean or what is happening. I don't understand.
What edge for Clark? He scalped the one woman duplicate.
Yeah, she didn't move.
Who was his wife, maybe? What was that about? I don't know. I mean, it had the red hair, I guess. Know. So
I don't get this movie at all.
And then also cut open the one dude's belly and then started eating his inside. So they can't feel pain. So why was Captain Clark feeling pain in that moment? No idea.
I don't know.
No bloody idea.
No bloody idea.
I would also question if every person is getting duplicated, then the back room should be filled with mofos. Shouldn't it?
They're all hiding. It's bigger than Earth, maybe. Who knows?
Well, there you go. But yeah, I think I didn't have any issue with like whether they explain things or not. I think it's very clear they're knowing that this is going to be a franchise thing and they'll do more. I don't know that we'll ever get a final answer on like that backroom stuff, but Kane Parsons for like 4 years has been putting YouTube videos about it. I'm sure he knows. Mm-hmm. Like he has an idea of what it is.
Maybe it just didn't.
The async like people.
It didn't feel like it at all.
It's a bigger part of his.
It's just, if you know what the Backrooms is, then you can come up with a theme that fits into that answer. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that's what they were kind of trying to do because the Backrooms fundamentally what it is, right? It duplicates stuff from Earth, and so they were trying to say, okay, you're looping, right? In your brain, you go back to the same stuff over and over, and so the Backrooms does the same thing, right? It loops rooms and spaces over and over. So it's like I can kind of see what they were going for there, but I just think when they try to flesh it out, it just did not come together. So yeah, the caliber of the writing for like the human characters and the theme needed to be stronger. Honestly, for the next Backrooms, if you just wanted to have it be like 4 or 5 async employees in the hazmat suits running around, maybe they'll have like body cameras and he can just kind of do that analog thing. I would be dope. I think that would be dope. I would be down for that.
That would be dope. I would watch that. That would just be vibes, which is what I wanted. That's entirely what I wanted, was just the vibes of the Backrooms. I didn't want the stupid ass plot.
So now that they tried this and it didn't really work out, didn't click, then maybe.
Well, it did work out. I made $81 million at the box office in the opening weekend. So they're not going to learn a lesson.
But so now that he's got all that money and whatnot, he can be like, guys, what if it's just vibes for the next movie? And I'll be like, okay. I think that'd be very cool.
I think he should branch out from the Backrooms because I think he is a talented filmmaker, especially at his age. I think he should.
Well, he's got a lot of time to branch out. He's 20. I'm sure he'll.
You're right.
But at the moment, he's got to ride high on this. He is Backrooms now, so he said apparently he's got Backrooms, and then his other major inspiration is Portal.
Yeah, I did hear that.
I think he's low key pushing for a Portal adaptation, which I think would be cool. Awesome. I think
I do love Portal.
And hopefully it would inspire Portal 3 to come out. Jesus Christ.
Dude, oh my God. What would the story even be, man?
I don't know, but
Gladys
they've had back. 15 years or whatever. How long's it been? So
I love Portal, bro. That shit's awesome.
More than 15, 17, 18. Let's look this up.
Portal 2 is so good.
It's fantastic.
When you accidentally turn glass back on, that shit is sick.
So Portal 2 came out. Okay, it was 15 years. 2011. True? Yeah. Well, so hopefully they'll get on that. But yeah, again, like I said, human stuff, real world stuff.
Boring.
Yeah, it was kind of boring. I don't think it worked. But in the Backrooms, I really enjoyed a lot of the set pieces that we had there.
Some of the Backroom stuff was good. The set pieces were great. Great set pieces. Great set deck.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. How many Captain Clark duplications out of 5?
I'm giving it 2. 2 out of 5.
2. Brutal. I'm giving it 3.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it. That's our horror weekend. Ryan, thank you so much for watching these scary movies. I know this isn't something you usually like to do, but it was very cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Again, I'll point out, neither of these are really scary. So again, if you're horror...
I would agree that Backrooms is not scary.
Or a scaredy cat, they're not really scary.
Backrooms is not scary. Anyway, that's all the time we have. If you'd like to give your thoughts on the show, you can email us at theboxofficeshowpod@gmail.com.
Our main title theme for the show is Sundown by Joseph McDade.
And if you like the show, please give us 5 stars on our podcast app you're listening to, and be sure to tune in next week. Have a great rest of your day.